we've gone live. Hello everyone, this is AJ and welcome back to the channel to Matt and AJ's live chats, or whatever you want to call them. I don't know. Depends who's heading it, I suppose. So today we've got myself, obviously Matt's here with me again. We have Michael returning, and for the first time we have Ian, who's there to my left. Hi, Ian.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
That's all right, mate.
It's great, thank you.
We're probably going to be doing a lot of talking today with regards to Star Trek, but I am happy to have other questions and that come in if there's only one person watching at the moment anyway. So Oceans Reviews has jumped in. Now, Oceans is a regular on the channel. So how you doing, Ocean? Just to say hello, you're the first commenter. We will have you back on again, don't worry. You've not been left out. Because I like getting you on. It's good having that Australian perspective. Okay, so before I begin, Ian is new to the live stream. This is his first ever live stream. So I'm going to sort of just pass it over to Ian so he can tell you a little bit about his channel and things like that, so that you can go and sub a chance maybe if you wish to. Ian, take it away.
Right. I suppose my channel's about really nostalgia, and I always look back from my childhood in 1960s and come right through now. And I've always been interested in collecting films, horror, sci-fi, and just that kind of thing. And I just thought I wanted to do sort of videos where I'm really positive about things and enthusiastic, and I just want to share my passion for what I like, and that's it really. That's what really got me going.
That's right. And you do show film releases that you've got, you have talks about them, you do reviews, you do like a little bit about your music that you like, magazines when you get them, you know, that are sort of sci-fi related and all that sort of stuff, don't you, as well?
Yeah, I just like to just be excited and buy things. I don't tend to I try and not be negative about things. And, you know, that's what I'm trying to do, you know, trying to be positive about things. Because nowadays, I think we need to be more positive, you know, about things. And that's what I try and do. But I do enjoy a good moan and rant sometimes, but I just don't broadcast it. You know.
Nothing wrong with that.
I know you like a good moan sometimes.
A good rant video gets good views. People love it. Just the same as a damaged item video gets good views.
Yeah. You get more views for a rant.
That's right. So I will say, I mean, I ain't got many watchers at the moment, but I will say this up. Talking along the bottom of the banner, and Video Tasters has popped in saying hello. And Jesse, I will come back to your comment because I know you messaged before this one. But at 4:30, Video Tasties, he's actually got Nicholas Meyer on his channel, the director of Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 6, and is going to be interviewing him. So that's very much worthwhile checking out, obviously. And I will say that again, like I said, it's going along the stream at the bottom. So anyone watching, go over to Video Tasties, find his channel. That's his logo there that's up on the screen now. And check out that. Nicholas Meyer, Star Trek 2 and 6, two of the best Star Trek films ever made.
First Contact is better.
What's that?
I said First Contact is better.
We might come on to that in a bit. So there's Michael below me. So Michael, again, just give a little blurb about your channel. We know you've been on before, so people watching probably have seen you, but go over and sub here.
Sure. Well, basically, I post movie reviews as well as pickups videos. I also record myself doing live DVD and Blu-ray hunts, which was inspired by AJ. And I have quite a few video projects that I'm working on at the moment. One is actually coming out this Monday. It's a movie that I'm finally allowing myself to say I actually love this movie and ignoring what the fan base actually says about it.
But you're not going to tell us what that is.
Well, if you see my Instagram story, you'll see
keep
it.
it a secret. Keep it a secret. Keep it a secret.
I have it right here. Like it's the Cirque du Freak, the Vampire's Assistant movie. It's based off of my favorite. It's based off of my favorite book series. I have all of them. I have actually a Darren Shan's near book collection complete. But I loved it when I first seen it. But because the fans hated it, I went and said, "Oh, I don't like it." But for this review, I was like, "Let me just finally say I actually love this movie." Because even the author himself, he has come out and said that despite it not sticking with the source material, I still love this movie.
Well, I look forward to that review. Jumping on to Matt, obviously he's down there.
Hello. Yeah, down here.
Yeah, so Matt's obviously, we do this together. So, Matt, anything to say before we sort of start?
Yeah, I've just released the video today. I didn't know this myself, but apparently it's Batman Day today. So I've got the t-shirt. I've got the t-shirt on, and so yeah, I just did a little quick video. I do these silent videos as well. I find them really good. You can just do a nice quick video, just showing parts of your collection. So yeah, that was my little sort of nod to Batman Day.
Well, I thought up a good title for your silent videos now. Matt on mute.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, Matt on mute. Yeah.
I thought about it when I was watching your Batman one.
Yeah, that's a good one. That.
Let me just put up Jesse's comment quick before I forget, because I have overshot this comment for Video Tasties too, where he said afternoon. I mentioned Nicholas Mayer being on, and then he said thanks for the banner bar. So yeah, hello. When will the chaos end? Hunger Games 4K steelbook set is released on the same day as Jurassic World steelbook set. Yeah, I know Jesse's. He does get some of this stuff, a lot of this stuff, and it is chaos. It is mental what's happening with the amount of releases that are just plaguing us at the moment. It's non-stop. You know, it isn't like one a week. We're not just getting one, you know, nice edition a week. There's, you know, I mean, I've got Crawl and I've got Lost Boys, and they're both essentially released Monday. You know, 2 prestige format releases, and it's just that overkill. And me and Matt have spoke about this. It's making collecting somewhat tedious to a degree, I would say. Yeah, just a nightmare. So just before I continue, anyone who's got questions, please put it down in the chat, because we will cover them. And it does sort of help the thingy go. But yeah, so what's your thoughts on that? Anyway, anyone who that might affect, it might not affect.
I thought the Hunger Games was already released.
It is, but there's a steelbook. Is there a steelbook set coming out? What, you thought the steelbook set was already out?
Yeah, I thought it was already out.
I don't know.
I've seen a video of someone get it a few weeks or a month ago, and
is it possible it was released in a foreign territory before here?
No, it was he's a US TikToker, and it's either it was sent to him early and I'm just being stupid, or I'm misremembering.
Yeah, so it might not have had its UK release yet.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That might be what that is. Or wherever Jesse's from. I'm not sure where Jesse's from. I can't remember. Just let us know, Jesse. So, okay. So, we're all Star Trek fans here. All 4 of us, right? We've got 2 people from a sort of, well, 2 people of similar age, myself and Matt. Ian, you was about when Star Trek first came about. Did you watch it? In the 60s?
I've watched it. As soon as BBC showed it in those days, because we didn't have much choice in channels. Yeah, I got onto Star Trek pretty quick. Yeah, I'm trying to think how old I would have been when it was first broadcast, but certainly as soon as it got on television, I watched it. You know, that's my early memories. Definitely of Star Trek. It just struck me at the time. It seemed absolutely fantastic. Obviously, I saw it in black and white as well, so I didn't get the full thing that you get from color. I mean, when you see it in color, it's such a leap forward. But at the time, even in black and white, it was still amazing, you know. And my mum and dad were going, hey, what's all this? You know, what are you watching this? You know, they couldn't really get into it and think, But you know, it just struck my imagination straight away. I loved it, you know, because I've watched Doctor Who. Obviously, I was a big Doctor Who fan, and Star Trek came along at a really nice time. So I was watching Doctor Who, particularly Patrick Troughton stuff. I really loved, and seeing Star Trek was just amazing, you know. It seemed what I liked about Star Trek is that, because compared with something like Lost in Space, which was quite big at the time, which I'd watched a lot, Star Trek seemed 100% better than Lost in Space. I know we look back nostalgically at Lost in Space, but it did get a bit repetitive and boring and a bit very silly. I don't mind things like that normally, but even as a child, I started to get a bit bored with Lost in Space. And then, you know, that came along and it just blew everything away. I think it's that important is Star Trek. It just had such an impact, you know, when it came along. There was no like it.
Oh, no, that's great.
Definitely.
So you've been a fan ever since.
Yeah.
You've been a fan ever since.
Yeah, since is interesting. I think, I know this might be controversial, but I think Star Trek improves when it has breaks. So if we have a break and it comes back, it's better. I know that might not be to everybody's say, but as I said, my complaint at the moment is I think there's too much of it. I really do. You know.
I'm all for saying we're in the golden age of Star Trek, but at the same time, with the amount we're getting, plus I think it was announced at San Diego Comic-Con that there's at least 5 more Star Trek series in production, including the Section 31 show.
So then, Michael, when did you first get into Star Trek? What was it that done it for you?
Well, I know my first contact with Star Trek was actually.
That's it. Ban him from the group. He has to put first contact in. I have to work it in somehow.
But yeah, no. The first bit of Star Trek media that I seen was when I was 4, and that was when Nemesis first came out. And my mom, who was a massive Star Trek fan, of course, dragged me along. I think it was during the summer months. But I didn't get into Star Trek until much later on. I want to say 2009 at least, and I think it was the reruns of Next Gen and Voyager on the Sci-Fi Channel on Sky, and I think it was the Borg that really sold it for me. And the Borg is my big obsession, hence why First Contact is my favorite Star Trek movie, and B, my second favorite movie of all time.
Okay, cool. That's interesting. Is that why you cite Voyager as your favorite? Is it the Borg content?
It was the Borg content, and even when I had done my first proper watch through the series, because I'd only seen like a handful of episodes that were on Sky at the time, it was just I felt like the whole ship, the crew felt like a proper family in a way, and of course Janeway. I loved Kate Mulgrew in that, and quickly became one of my favorite captains of all time through that show. I definitely think she done great. I know there's the whole Tuvix thing that can be argued, but I still think for what she done and with the limited resources that she had, done a pretty good job.
Fair enough. And let's move to Matt. So Matt, I'm guessing that your first experiences were probably going to mirror mine, but go on.
Yeah, I mean, I've pretty much watched the original series, probably on reruns, probably on BBC 2. And then we got The Next Generation. That came on to, I think that was BBC Two as well. Now, the first series, I agree with you to a degree that it was trying to find its feet. But that episode towards the end where Tasha Yar is killed, that for me was a very brave episode, because they took a main character and out of nowhere, you didn't see that coming. It just like that. And that's so sort of relevant of life, that can happen, that somebody's life can be taken away just like that.
Yeah,
And I thought
that
that's such a brave storytelling. You know, that episode for me really kind of, I thought, right, there's something special about this show. From that point onwards, it really, the first sort of handful of shows, you kind of thought, not sure about this, but for me, that one. And then when we got into season 3, season 2 with meeting the Borg, that sort of, really kind of, who are these people? But then Best of Both Worlds,
Yesterday's
that really
Enterprise
kind of
season.
yeah, that's a fantastic episode as well.
Yeah, I really did love Yesterday's Enterprise.
But you sort of season 2, you could really start to see the cast gelling together. So definitely Next Gen. Deep Space Nine and Voyager, at the time we had Sky, and they were showing that. I think that's pretty much Deep Space Nine was launched on Sky, if I remember rightly. So that's where I watched those series. Enterprise, at that point, after Voyager had finished, I had Star Trek fatigue in it.
Pretty much everyone, I think, did at that point.
Yeah, and I didn't really get into Enterprise.
Okay.
I then tried with Discovery, watched the first season of that. There was the odd show that I sparked my interest, but I gave up on that one. But Strange New Worlds, watched the first season of that, and that feels more like Trek to me.
It does indeed. It does. I mean, my first experience is exactly the same as you. BBC Two reruns after school, whatever day it was on. And for me, I didn't get into Star Trek. I'll be honest, right? And see, I lost my mum when I was quite young, as in like mid-teens. And
actually,
it was sort of about 93, that sort of year. And I'd started watching Star Trek just before that. My mate was lending me VHS tapes where I'd recorded them all, the Next Generations. I had seen the originals, but I wasn't into Star Trek. But I liked it, but wasn't into it. And then I just sat down and I just lost myself, and it's probably quite a sad thing to do, really. It's probably just where I handled it. And I would just watch these videotapes. I'd watch 6, 7, 8 episodes a day. It just took me out of reality and away from what had happened and this sort of thing. And then got into it like that. But Star Trek was into about season 3 at the time. I had seen some of the Next Generation, didn't particularly like it. That was from the VHSs that were on rental at the time of Encounter at Farpoint and that sort of thing. But then I just sort of like got with it. And then DS9 came around, and that's the first show that I ever followed from conception all the way through, as opposed to going back with the Next Generation, which I adored and I did love. But then Deep Space Nine, it's just that darker, grittier world that grabbed me, that the aesthetic that was different. And I thought Avery Brooks was just, I don't know, I just loved him in it, and all the cast gelled for me. And that's where it sort of came from for me. So really, let me just quickly jump into some comments just so that, and then we can jump back to thingy. If I can show this, come on. Okay, Richard says, "Hi guys, enjoying." Oh, it's gone because there's like delay on the computer. It's not coming up. There we go. Hi guys, enjoying the chit chat this afternoon. Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much for popping in. Any questions, please leave them. If anyone's got any Star Trek questions or any other questions, it doesn't matter. It's the new version matching the Best Buy, but it's $17.99. And Jesse is in Red Hill, the UK. Now, interestingly, Red Hill is 15, 16, 17 miles away from me. My children actually went to school there in Red Hill. I forget the name of the school. St Bede's School. They don't go anymore. That's where they went to school. They live near there. So yes, Jesse, I'll have to meet up for a cup of tea sometime. So then we have Oceans. I'm still yet to get around to buying Wrath of Khan, Matt, but will eventually. Ha ha ha.
Ooh.
I know it's just too hard. Ha ha. He'll love it. Best Star Trek film ever.
Second best.
Sorry, we have this thing as Michael there is,
Yeah.
and I understand is his First Contact. Mine is Wrath of Khan. It's a generational thing.
What's yours, Ian? What's your favourite film?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think it's got a lot of things that I like have sort of just personal sort of memories and what have you. I'm gonna say, because I think it's so much fun, The Voyage Home, number 4.
That is my second favorite Star Trek movie.
It's
I
good.
love The Voyage Home.
It's got everything that you want in Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's got action, it's got humor, time travel.
Yeah.
I'm always into time travel. So for me, I know Wrath of Khan is obviously the film, but I really think number 4 is just it's a crowd pleaser, yeah, but he's a wonderful at doing it. You know, it's a great film.
Oh yeah,
Really love it.
yeah. Good message in it as well, sort of about the ecological side of things, which
Yeah,
still
you've got
relevant
everything
today,
in
isn't it?
there.
Still
Yeah,
relevant
it's
today.
great. It's a great film. And I think number 6 is a very good film as well.
Yeah.
Because that has certain messages in it. It's a good job it's not out nowadays. They'll be complaining about it, but it's entertaining, but it's got a lot to say, hasn't it? The Undiscovered
wonderful
Country
send off as well to the original crew, the way they did it
definitely.
at the end. It was perfect the way they did it, you know.
Yeah, it was, yeah, definitely.
Oh, sorry, I don't know. I pressed something. I don't know what's happened now. I pressed something and it started. The computer started. Can you hear that?
No.
I ain't got a clue what's going on. My computer started talking.
Gremlins at work.
I don't know what's doing. You can't hear that.
Nope.
No.
Wow, I don't know what it's doing. Wait there. All right, wait there a minute. All right, so anyway, this is doing my nutting mouth, right? The computer's talking to me. Oh, it's reading aloud. How do I stop the computer from reading aloud? My computer's reading aloud to me, everyone. It's actually reading stuff on the screen. I don't know what I've pressed. Oh, no, there's a little thing up there. I am having a shit. There we go. Sorry about that. My computer started reading stuff. It was going, Matt V's movies, remove, live, 2301. Just reading stuff.
Red alert.
Jesus. And that's like totally thrown off. Sorry, where were we?
Talking about the best Star Trek movie ever made, First Contact.
That worked. Ian was saying about Star Trek, his love of Star Trek 4. Just stop with the First Contact crap. No, it's a good film.
Voyage Home is definitely the second best Star Trek movie ever made. I will say that.
What? Okay, fair enough. So yes, sorry, did I interrupt you there, Ian? I am so sorry.
No, I think I think that's it. Yeah. What would you say the best generation film is then? Is it First Contact?
First Contact.
Has to be Generations for me. Has to be Generation, personally.
I like Generations. Generations is a good movie. I just prefer First Contact.
Right. See, for me, First Contact is. I think I said this to you, Michael. I said it to Matt. As much as parts of it I really like. There's parts that don't work for me.
I
Certain
totally do.
certain of elements of the humor don't work. Deanna Troy in the bar when she's drunk, it's just it's cringy. There's moments in it that make me cringe.
Mm.
I do agree. There are parts that I don't like about the movie, but there's enough for me to like and even adore about this movie that kind of trumps it. I love how we actually finally get to see how Picard's psyche is after Best of Both Worlds, because it was barely touched upon in TNG, given its episodic value. I know it was with I, Borg, and that other Borg episode with Lore in it, but it just wasn't really that focused on when it could have been, and we actually get to see it in this movie.
That's a fair enough comment.
Yeah, they
I
kind
think
of
the problem with the Next Generation films is that it concentrates. I can see why, obviously, on Picard and Data, but the other characters sometimes are just so sidelined. You hardly notice they're in the film. I mean, I love Dr. Crusher, but where you show me where Dr. Crusher is in the movies,
very true.
she's hardly in it.
You did say that in your thing the other day, didn't you? Yeah, you got a good point.
It's true. I mean, they get sidelined in the movies. Was in the original Trek films, the original series. You feel everybody gets a better share in the films, don't they? The characters, Scotty, he gets a lot of good time in the films as well. It isn't just totally on Spock and Kirk and McCoy, is it? You do get the other characters as well.
Yeah,
Uhura,
well rounded.
Well, I absolutely adore her. My guess, but I mean, you get proper characters in there. In Next Generation, where are they in the film? Even Troy, they've tried, but it, as Matt said, it doesn't. It's not good,
I mean,
is it?
Even with Troy, like, I think for one of the movies, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was not long after Voyager had ended, where they were negotiating her contract, and they were like, well, if you don't accept this amount for doing this, we'll probably get someone like Jerry Ryan to do it. And she took none of that. And she said, if you can get Jerry Ryan to do that, then go fucking ahead.
I think honestly that there should have been more of a break between the end of the TV series of Next Generation and the films.
I can agree on that, because they literally just, as soon as season 7 finished, they went straight into production for the movie.
Yeah. Now Generations, I like it. I like aesthetically, I really like it. I think it's shot very well.
Yeah.
The color tone palette of the film, it looks different, but the inclusion of Kirk and that era of Star Trek with the sort of Excelsior style. No, it was Enterprise B, which almost
Enterprise B is in an Excelsior class.
It gave you that nostalgia as well. From that, and it just worked for me really well. But I mean, I don't have to. I mean, let me just say, I'm not going to defend my favorite Star Trek film. It's Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan. I'm just going to go down to Matt because he's ain't and he's. I know the answer. There we go.
My favourite film.
Yeah, you're saying.
For a long time, it was the motion picture. Actually, that film was always is very, very different to all the other ones. And a lot of people would say it's boring, but there's a lot of good character moments in it. Certainly, I think it's a film of discovery. Certainly for Spock, I mean, he's kind of in a place where he's searching for something, and just from a visual point of view, it's fantastic. It's probably the best visually stunning Star Trek film of all of them. I mean,
as well, like, look at how many times Star Trek series from that point have tried to emulate the reveal of the starship from the motion picture.
Well, but I mean, the Enterprise, it doesn't matter what angle it's filmed from, it's a beautiful looking ship.
Yeah.
Right on it, it's flawless. Sorry, Matt.
They spend about 10-15 minutes on that scene where you know, he's just appreciating the ship. And yeah, for modern audiences, they think, oh, come on, let's get on to the story. But
yeah,
it's actually, you know, showing, you know, like yourself, AJ, when you went to the submarine, your recent trip to that submarine, you know, you just take time to sort of look and, you know, sort of take it all in, you know, the majesty of something like that, you know. And we obviously, you know, it's all sort of models, but if you know, put in that time frame, people would do that. They would be like in awe of this amazing ship that's been created or, you know, refitted.
It was in industrial magic.
I think one thing people forget about the original movie when it came back is the excitement around that film.
Yeah,
it'd been quite a gap, you know, since the television series. And I remember going into these, you know, we were all excited going in to see that film, and I've never seen so much anticipation and excitement in a cinema audience watching that film. There were gasps as we saw Kirk, and particularly Scotty with his mustache and whatever. They'd aged. They actually aged.
Yeah,
and it was amazing seeing that. But we loved it. It was just pure love of those characters. And seeing the film, it was just wonderful. It was a great experience.
I mean, we'd gone from like, I mean, you know, people now sort of watching TV series now. TV series are like films. The production values on TV series are film level almost. You know, we came from a time when TV, you know, series like Doctor Who and that, it was all sort of, you know, very clunky and, you know, done on the budget. But then when you got to the films, that you could see the money was on the screen, and it was just that elevation. It was just, wow, this is amazing. We've never seen this before. And that excitement that came from, you know, from that. And I think modern audiences don't necessarily get that now because they see it on the small screen. So they expect even bigger on the big screen. But there's only so much you can do, you know.
I've got a quick question. Would you guys have preferred for Star Trek to have continued on in movies rather than come back in terms of TV shows?
Ian, do you want to go?
No, I think because Star Trek, its origins is in the TV, it should always have that as a TV series. It's just that, as I said before, I think having too much. It's like Star Wars. I must admit, I'm not as big a Star Wars fan, though I can get into it sometimes and get excited about it. But I think Star Wars, they're doing exactly the same there. They're just producing more and more of these off-spin series, and it's going to ruin it all. But if with Star Trek, it came from the TV, and therefore it is good, I think, to have Star Trek on TV. And I think that's good. That's important to history at series. But as I say, it's just our feel perhaps at the moment that we don't want too much of all this, you know. As I say, less is more, you know. The less you have, the more you can actually appreciate it more. Whereas, I mean, look at all what old Star Wars stuff is getting now. I mean, the level of abuse and the fans going on about it, you know, it's no good, is it, really? You know, they need to really have a rethink there and work out exactly where they are with Star Wars. I don't think they do know where they are. They're just producing. Disney are obviously saying, come on, we want more product. But for what reason? You know, money. That's it.
What about you, Matt? Where do you think what would you rather have seen, the films or the?
I definitely think you need, certainly with Star Trek, it's all about the characters, isn't it? It's all about the relationships, the stories. You know, making you you know, the groundbreaking episodes that they've done in Star Trek. There's always been that sort of making awareness of issues, modern day issues, and you know, the Orville as well. Have you watched the Orville, Ian?
Yeah, I love the Orville.
It's a
I love, as
fantastic
soon as I
series.
saw it, it is. And in fact, that gives you hope about how to actually do TV series. It
Well, it's
really
done-
does, because I think the importance of the Orville is that it could do important messages and then say important things, but you didn't feel it was like preaching at you. It was
that's right.
telling the story of how
Yeah.
these issues are, but making it very clear. They were making where they stood very clear, the writers. But you felt it was done at such a great way they did it. But you still have the humour, maybe not as much humour. But I love the Orville. The Orville is what you want in nowadays,
I really do hope they make a season 4 because it's so good. I mean, that episode,
it was so refreshing. The Orville is just it feels new, and yeah, it's old. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
It's because it's back to Next Generation influence, but it feels new.
Yeah,
it feels really new.
There's an episode that AJ said, and I agree with him, that the one where they dealt with the sort of the transgender issue, which again they could have forced that on you and said, you know, this is how it's got to be and all the rest of it, but it was done in such a way that people that probably don't know a lot about that, so it kind of educates you, and you can see it, but it's done in the right way. It's not forced on, and I think that's what people don't.
And it still feels entertaining.
Yeah, but it's getting that message out there, and that sort of people kind of can understand it, and you know, it gets accepted in society. You know, the interracial kiss in the original series. You know, that set the so many little bits of Star Trek have had so many positive impacts on society. You know, that's what's so wonderful about Star Trek, for me anyway.
A lot of people forget that the original series was very into issues of the time.
Yeah.
And it was there doing all these things. And this was in the late 60s. You know, I think people forget that, you know, when they go preaching around now, they're saying this and that. They forget Star Trek was doing it. And Doctor Who, I won't go into that. They were doing these things in those times. It's just that people didn't see it as much, or didn't really, you know, like they do nowadays. They think they know it all. But it was all there. I mean, there's some great episodes in the original series that say a lot, you know, as we know.
You're going for films or TV? Film's going on one.
So
what's
is this to me?
Yeah, I'll say what's your answer then?
TV.
Oh, okay. So there is actually I see. I look. I don't know. My mind works in a different way. I believe that chances are, if they went ahead with Star Trek Phase 2, the planned TV series that became the motion picture, we wouldn't have what we have today. That's just a case of cause and effect. You know, we wouldn't have got the motion picture. We wouldn't have got the films that we got. Would we have got Next Generation? Possibly, possibly not. We don't know. But things would have taken a different route. So for me, I'm happy with the film side of it. Primarily the first 6 features anyway. So what's your opinion on that, Michael? And after this question, I'm going to get into some comments.
Yeah.
Michael to the table.
I'm happy that we do have the TV shows that we do. I love basically all of them. So in a sense, I am glad that Star Trek got back to its roots essentially and started with TV shows. I mean, I know Discovery and Picard are kind of controversial ones, but I still love them regardless. I loved the first season of Discovery. and I will continue to watch it until the show's inevitable end. Hopefully, it just isn't one of those shows that goes on for so many seasons, and we stick with the tried and true Star Trek shows, getting just 7 seasons and wrapping it up.
Cool. So, I mean, like I say, I'm a sort of a bit of both, but I'm glad for the films that we have got. Not so much the Kelvins, although I get.
I actually love the Kelvins.
They're just not really Trek for me. But let's throw some messages up. So, Video Taster says he was never a fan of the original series, but loved the movies, even the first. I do understand. I get that.
I'm the same as Video Tasty said. That's how I see it. I've seen a handful of OG series episodes. Not for me, but I love the original series movies more than the TV show.
Yeah. Okay. And Adrian says, good afternoon, Matt. Now, Adrian did actually message me at saying hello at 1:32. He was first in the house. Sorry, I missed them messages, Adrian. I replied back to you and then sort of went from there. That's what happened there. Jesse says, I really miss the old Star Trek original crew. The acting, the charm, the fun, the stories were great.
Well, such chemistry.
Yeah.
Great chemistry. And that's what it's all about. That's what you need in any show is great chemistry.
We've got Movie Monster in. Hi, Movie Monster. If you're still up, that is. It must be the early hours or into the early hours of the morning there.
Wow.
It is when Oceans is on.
Yeah. And what part, I suppose, you're in?
He left that message quite a while ago, so he might be in bed now. I don't know. He's in Melbourne, did he say? Yeah, he's in Melbourne. Jesse says, is there a new film being made? Have they resolved the contracts for the main cast? Chris Pine is excellent. Wouldn't be the same without him.
I have been keeping up with this. There was either a writer or director that just left, actually. It's still, as I like to refer to it, as in development hell. So I don't think we're going to be getting it I think it was next year that it was supposed to be coming out, or 2024. But as it stands right now, if it can't get a writer, if it can't get a director, it's not going to happen.
Yes, I know that they announced a new film, but they hadn't even secured any of the cast again when they made that announcement. I think that was just for their board members more than anything, for their shareholders.
The ludicrous announcements. Do you remember that? They were saying Tarantino was going to direct a Star Trek movie.
Do you remember that? And then they
couldn't
agree on something, and so that just isn't happening.
No.
Oceans did say, but it will be further down. It's 11:42 in Melbourne. So we got an answer to that. So I was just having a look down what the new messages were. So Goose says, afternoon chaps.
Right.
Goose's movies. How are you keeping? I hope you're all right. Now this is a question. I don't know if Video Taste is still on or not, because obviously he's preparing for his Nicholas Mayer time. Nicholas Mayer going on to Video Tasty's channel at 4:30 p.m. Make sure you check that out. But yeah, so he said, rank the TV show captains up to Enterprise. So none of the new nonsense. So you've got 5 captains to, 6 if you want to include Pike, but it's got to be, didn't really see him as a captain, but however you want to do it. But let's leave that Michael Berman and there's only one really, isn't it? Let's leave them out of it, and Saru and whoever else. Let's just go with classic. Who wants to go first?
Go on, Ian. You go first.
Ian, you're new in the house. What's your
right?
You're gonna go from best.
I'll do it first, and I'll go backwards.
All right.
The first captain. I would say, just Picard, definitely. Then Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
Then Cisco. I like Cisco a lot. Janeway, and then Archer. Do I have to carry on? Is that enough?
No, it's just up to Enterprise, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, Michael.
Oh, crap baskets. Okay. Right. Best captain. We'll go from top to bottom. The best captain is Cisco. Without a shadow of a doubt, Cisco is the best captain. My second it has to be Janeway. My third, I'm gonna I have to give it to Picard because I love Patrick Stewart. Mm-hmm. My fourth is actually going to be Jonathan Archer. I loved his captain in Enterprise. Absolutely loved it. Which means, unfortunately, in last place for me is Kirk.
Wow.
Fair enough. No, that's cool. But you don't dislike Kirk or anything.
No, I don't dislike Kirk. Like I like watching him in the TNP movies, and I do love Chris Pine's interpretation of Kirk as well. So I do love the Kirk character. It's just I connect more with the four other captains than I do with Kirk.
Okay. So, Matt, how would you rank them?
Sorry, you talked to me, you broke up.
Yeah, sorry, mate. How would you do it? How would you rank them?
How would I do it? I think for me, number one has to be Kirk. Number two, Picard. Yeah, probably number three, Cisco. 4, Janeway, and 5, Archer.
Okay, all right, cool. So for me, I'm going to mix things up and go last place first because you went favourites first. So my last place would be Archer, although I do like him. Then I'd go Janeway. Then I would go Picard. Then Kirk, and then number one, Cisco.
Is it weird that I kind of already guessed that would be the order you went with?
Yeah, but the only reason I've gone Cisco in that first spot is to prove that I'm not racist. No, I think he's written. I'm joking. I think he's fantastic.
He really is. Like I watched DS9 for the very first time. I want to say in 2018, 2019. I started in 2018, took a bit of a break, and finished it in 2019. And I loved it. I loved Cisco as both commander and captain. He really did own that show. My probably favorite episode is the Siege of AR-558, I think it was called. Mm-hmm. That's probably my favorite DS9 episode.
Cool. So we've got Richard has asked, have any of you ever attended a Star Trek convention dressed up as a character?
I may as well answer this because I'm the youngest. I have not been to either a convention or a Star Trek convention, so I have not cosplayed any characters.
That's a no. Michael, have you ever been to a Star Trek convention? Have you ever been to a convention? A Star Trek convention? Or have you been as you haven't?
No, I haven't been to either a regular convention or a Star Trek convention.
Okay, all right. So, Ian, what about you?
I've never been to any conventions. No.
Oh, okay. No. But Ian does have a Star Trek uniform top. I will say that to everyone, and he looks very.
I do.
I used to have a TNG top that my mom owned, but I think I got thrown out because it was falling apart and got too big.
What about you?
No, only just been to the convention with you. Obviously, that was the Comic-Con, but no, never been to Star Trek convention.
Okay, so for me, yes, I've not dressed up as a character per se, but I have been in Starfleet uniform. In that I bought the top, the same one that Ian was wearing, which is the Next Generation era tunic. Not the onesies, the second ones they wore before they, you know the ones I mean. Anyway, yeah. I had one of them tops, and I did attend a convention in it, probably around 95 maybe. There was a few here in London, and then there was a convention that came about for Generations, and it was in the Royal Albert Hall up in central London, and you had William Shatner there, you had everyone, you had the Next Generation cast, you had people from Deep Space Nine, you had original people there and this sort of a thing, and I did have a Deep Space Nine engineer's tunic, so the black with just the orange at the top or the gold at the top with the sort of not purple, whatever color you'd call the roll neck thing underneath they wear. I had that, and that was it. There was just those two. So I went dressed twice in Starfleet uniforms.
There was an exhibition, if I remember rightly, in the 90s that I went to, but that was kind of showing the uniforms, the props, all that kind of stuff. I think that was in London, but I think I showed a bag the other day that I think I got from, I think it was at the Science Museum, if I remember rightly. Because I bought, it was in Deep Space Nine. Do you remember those mugs they had? Sort of like quite a wide base. Yeah. I bought one of those.
Have you still got it?
Not sure where that's gone to, but yeah. There was an exhibition here.
Yeah, they're nice. So
sure it's around somewhere. But
I'm the only one geeky enough to dress up. I mean, I've got a blimmin' Star Trek t-shirt on now, which is very similar to the original.
I do have a Star Trek t-shirt that my dad got me for my birthday when we reconnected. It's just upstairs. I completely forgot to put it on.
I thought everyone would. Well, no, I didn't announce it was going to be sort of Trek related, but I thought we'd all, we all had an affinity with Trek. I thought we'd make good chat. Gap up there's how AJ panel and chat. Yeah, Matt's got his little Star Trek on. So hi Gap, how are you keeping? Hope you're well. Next message was Ocean saying the time zone in Melbourne, Australia. So now it's 11:52. I like to Pure Hangout. How are you keeping?
Derek.
Yeah. I hope you're well. I hope you're keeping well. We will have you on again. Don't worry. Oh, he's like, we'll get back to you. No, he's got a great channel. I love Derek. He's good.
I do enjoy a lot of the videos that I've seen of him.
Sorry?
I have enjoyed a lot of the videos that I have watched of Pure Hangout.
He's cool. He's cool. Should Sulu and Worf have got spin-offs, people? Should Sulu have got the Chelsea series?
I'd say Sulu, yes. Worf, you see, I've only really heard the discussions of a Worf TV series with the new shows that we're getting, so I don't necessarily think so. Unless they would be kind of centered around Kronos and him interacting with other Klingons and seeing, the aftermath of Romulus destructions through a Klingon's point of view.
Okay. But technically, didn't Worf get a spin-off series because he was in the Next Generation, and then he was in Deep Space Nine?
Technically, yeah, you are correct. He is technically in a spin-off.
As a character, he's had the most screen time, certainly.
You're a bit quiet, AJ. Yeah, you're gone.
No, I haven't gone. I'm moving about. Can you hear me now? Yeah. That's it, yeah. I said he definitely had the most screen time as a character. So I agree. Sulu, yeah, I'd love to have seen Sulu. They were working up to him being a captain from the end of Star Trek 3.
Especially since that would have taken place during the wilderness years of Star Trek. From the end of the motion picture, the Undiscovered Country up to the start of TNG, we still know frighteningly little about that timeline. all we do know is that there was a Kardashian war before a few years before TNG started. But other than that, we know frighteningly little from that timeline.
He campaigned quite a lot to get the series because of the what was the ship that he took?
The Excelsior.
Yeah. So there was plans for an Excelsior show, wasn't there? I think it would have been quite good, but yeah.
Alas, I think it only continued on in the books.
Mm.
Ian, what's your opinion on that? Can you hear me?
Yeah, just I could just hear you're talking. I'll tell you, I've got one that would never happen, which I would love. Enterprise C, Captain Garrett.
Oh yeah.
From yesterday, wouldn't that have been an exciting?
Yeah.
I'd love to know more about Captain Garrett and Enterprise C.
Yeah, I did like that.
That'll never happen. So.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
Obviously, Pike has been the success, hasn't it? Even though I've not seen this series, what everybody says that I've seen Pike, obviously, in Discovery, season 2, and he is a great character, and it's logical that he got his own series. So that has been a good success. I can't think of anything else, to be honest. I mean, I know what AJ said. Sulu would have been good, but you know, all that has gone now, unfortunately.
Yeah, but you say Garrett would never happen, but like Michael said, there's 5 shows in development. There's always they've done it with Pike. There's always the opportunity that they could. Obviously, they'd have to recast, but they could still happen.
Yeah,
the possibilities are really interesting. I think.
Yeah,
Enterprise C. Yeah,
absolutely,
definitely.
So, hang out, Eric. DS9 was what I watched most as a kid, as it was airing, but I've forgotten so much of it. Most familiar with Voyager, as it's what I've watched most recently watched. Got 1 season left of it. So
one thing I would have loved to have seen with Voyager is the whole Year of Hell series, because we only necessarily got in 2 episodes, but initially it was going to be at a full season arc.
cool. I can't remember. I can't remember that. Can you still hear me all right? Is my volume all right?
Yeah, you're better now. You do seem to sound like you are a bit distant at times, like you're down a tunnel.
I'm always a bit distant. So I've got a funny one here, funny comment. It says, "Hi Dad, you've got a lot of Star Trek shirts. What's your favourite?" Now, I've got no idea who that is. Seriously, I've got no idea who that is. It could be one of my children, but I'm pretty sure.
You never know.
If it is, let me know somehow that it is you, not someone just having a laugh. But I'm going with someone having a laugh because my kids are so interested in watching me live. But you never know. It might be. 320 D&B. That means nothing to me, that name. Okay.
I wonder. That could be my son.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah, it could be. I'm just thinking because my son was in a group called 320.
Oh, there you go. And there's me making assumptions. Nice about so Ian, there you go.
It could be. I don't know.
Well, if he's in 320, it makes sense, doesn't it? That's a bit of a coincidence.
Yeah.
So have you got a lot of Star Trek t-shirts?
So what?
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of Star Trek t-shirts. No, I'm not wearing one.
What's your favourite then?
I think it has to be Spock. I've got a Spock one, and I think I've had that years, and it's great. I love the Spock one. I've got just doing Live Long and Prosper on it. Yeah.
That's great. So there you go. That's your son is in there.
I bet it.
Some people struggle doing that.
My mother couldn't do that. I remember how I managed to do it is I didn't know what this was for Star Trek. I knew this from a cartoon called Recess, and that's where I first saw it. And I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then I remember lying on my bed because I used to have a bunk bed, and on one of the wooden slats, I would just slide it in between there, and that's how I've been able to do it.
You do it, Ian?
Can
you do it?
No, I can't.
You can't do it.
No, I can't. I can't do it.
It's
I can do it with my right hand, but I struggle a bit more with
on both.
the left.
No.
Don't come out. Don't. Yeah, it feels like I'm struggling to get it.
Mm.
But with that one, it's perfect.
It takes practice, but
There we are.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah, there that my son. I think. Yeah.
Danny's here now. Danny has put up a video on my life of his Star Trek collection. I believe that is that live now.
I think it's scheduled for tomorrow because I did see that myself, and I do plan to watch that.
Yes, we will catch that, Danny. See what you've got, and it'd be great to have you on at some point as well.
Yeah.
Been watching all your videos, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It'd be nice to see Worf on the Klingon homeworld more. The Klingon stuff don't really work for me too much,
No, same with me. Found those the weaker episodes personally, but
isn't it kind of like rumored that there's going to be some Klingons appearing in Strange New World season 2? Like from the few things that I've been seeing, there's some hints leading towards that. I don't know if it's true or not, but we might be seeing it soon again.
What design do you reckon they'll go with? Because they kind of changed the design of the Klingons in Discovery, didn't they?
I'm hoping that it won't be the Discovery designs, because at first when I watched Discovery, I liked it, but when I done a rewatch last year before they went off of Netflix, I didn't like them as much. So I'm hoping that if they do bring them back, that they will be the designs of the TOS Klingons, without the face ridges and that.
Yeah. I got a new design. So Danny says, when are they doing an Enterprise B series and an Enterprise C series?
Yeah, exactly.
Two ships we don't know. With Enterprise B, there are a bunch of books about it, because I do know. Now, this is all, of course, beta canon and all that, but from what I know from the books is Sulu's daughter ends up becoming the captain of the ship at some point, and then it just gets lost in space. No one even knows where the ship is.
Something like nepotism, isn't it?
Sorry, can't hear you, AJ.
I said there's nothing like nepotism. Sulu's daughter.
Yeah.
All right. So, I don't think we'll ever see series set up called the BLC. I'll be honest. So, great question now to get your blood going. People, get ready.
Oh boy.
Some video tasties. Not in that sense. In another sense.
Oh.
Or for you, Ian, Uhura.
Poll or 7 of 9, Ian?
Oh,
Which one out of bed over the other?
that's a difficult one. 7 of 9 it'll have to be. Yeah. I know it's predictable, but T'Pol was she was pretty hot, wasn't she? But yeah, I'll go for 7 of 9.
The actress who plays T'Pol, forget her name now, but she was I don't know if she still is. She was dating Edward Furlong, I think.
Oh, okay.
Or I don't know if she was in a relationship with him at some point. So anyway, Ian's going with 7 of 9. Matt? Oh no, sorry, Michael. Go Michael first, and then we'll go Matt.
7 of 9. I just love Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, we did see her, didn't we, Matt?
Yeah, with the mask on, unfortunately.
Yeah, she was pretty COVID up. She didn't see nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a big shame. Yeah.
Matt,
That was the highlight of the day.
It would have been. Who would you go? Who? What's your choice, Matt? T'Pol or 7 of 9?
Well, 7 of 9. Especially in that first outfit she used to wear, the silver one. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
The thing is, funnily enough, I mean, I recently watched the Enterprise pilot not long ago, and when this message just came up, my mind went to the scene when Connor Trenier gets to rub her down with all the.
Not the only one, AJ. You're not the only one.
That's where my mind went straight to. Now, me personally, I would go for a T'Pol 7 of 9 sandwich.
You want your cake and eat it.
Absolutely.
And why not? And why not?
We've got another one that Derek's coming up with. What's our biggest Star Trek lady crush? Okay. Ian? We're going around like you're the newest. You know, that's
I know the burning obvious, but well, it is obvious. It's Lieutenant Uhura, the original one. I just absolutely, I fell in love with her as a child. You know, I mean, she's one of my early, you know, when you suddenly notice girls and women, and Lieutenant Uhura, I thought she's so sexy. And yeah, and I love her. I still love her. I think she's great. Absolutely wonderful. But if I move on to series after original series, again, I might surprise you, but I have quite a soft spot for Beverly Crusher. I really like Dr. Crusher.
She was
in some
attractive woman.
Some episodes and that. She looked fabulous. Isn't there an episode where her and Deanna Troy are both doing yoga?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We got that mental image. So cheers for that.
So Michael, what's yours?
It's a toss-up. It's
the right words to use.
it's either I'm either gonna no definite Kate Mulgrew is Captain Janeway for me.
Oh, you like a bit of power, yeah? A woman with a power base who can tell you what to do.
Pretty much, yeah.
Fair enough.
It's me doing half the work. Tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it.
Matt, where are you at with this?
I did like Dax, actually. I thought she was the best thing about Deep Space Nine, personally.
Terry Farrell.
Yeah, I did.
Attractive,
I did like her, yeah. But I mean, yeah, I still like 7 of 9 as well. But yeah, both of them. Have a sandwich of them too.
Yeah. The thing is, I liked all of them. Not Uhura. Don't read into that. Just because it was the 60s. Nothing other, don't take that as being anything else, anyone. Deanna Troy, I liked a lot. Then I liked each one of them which each series was on. I probably had a crush on each one of them. But if I had to pick one, I do go towards Terry Farrell. Jadzia Dax.
Yeah, she was very, You don't see her much now. I don't know whether she's still acting or.
No, I think she just goes to cons. Anytime she's invited to a convention, she would go to. Because I haven't seen her in much anyway. I should probably look into her IMDb, because a lot of the times people I think aren't acting still technically are.
Well, a lot of people like Thingy from Paris, McNeil, whatever his name is, Duncan.
Yeah, Duncan McNeil.
He's like showrunner on, or he's executive producer on Resident Alien.
Mm.
So a lot of people do work behind the scenes on stuff.
That's the beauty of Star Trek, is it brought and made a lot of them directors, like Jonathan Frakes, Duncan McNeil, Roxanna Dawson, and they have directed fantastic episodes.
That's right. Even let me know with Resident Alien, Leah Thompson not Star Trek related, but Back to the Future. Leah Thompson, Marty McFly's mother, she was directing some episodes of it.
Wow.
I had to like, is that the Leah Thompson? And it was.
Yeah.
It was at work elsewhere. So what series has your favourite Klingon design? So there's only really 3, isn't there? Next Gen, original, and the current.
Yeah.
Nonsense. So what's your favourite Klingon design, people?
Actually, my favorite one is the Into Darkness Kelvin designs for Klingons.
Okay, yeah. There's 4 then. Yeah, I didn't think of them. Sorry, mate. My mind just went to the original. Yeah.
I just saw like a mental image of that. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about them. Yeah, they're pretty good.
So Ian, what about you?
Even though I love the first series, definitely not. They're probably the worst Klingon designs.
Yeah.
But the Next Gen, I just like the Next Gen Klingons. Yeah, I know it's predictable, but yeah, definitely.
That would be my go-to as well, Matt.
Well, yeah. I mean, also, the Klingons in the films. In the first 2 films. Well, 3 films. Yeah, Search for Spock as well. I think it's an extension then on from the Next Gen, isn't it? They took that design and then just built upon it.
Yeah. So what we got here now? I haven't done that one. Afternoon, lads, says Oliver Ian 807. Afternoon, Manchester City supporter. I don't follow football, so I don't know how they're doing or anything. Anyone like the opening credits of Enterprise? Oh, is this where AJ gets to sing again?
Please, let me get some earphones first so I don't have to hear that.
It's been a long road getting from there to here. It's been a long time, but my time is finally here. That's the one. So, what do you think of that opening and the song? Because I know a lot of people did have issue with it, didn't they? They didn't really like it. So let's go around the room with our new guest, Ian. First time in, and not the last.
I thought that actually, if you look at the actual sequences, what they're showing, I think it's really good because it's like showing the development of space travel, and I think that's effective. And to be honest, the song is not bad. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's the worst thing going. I know it might be sacrilege to some people to have singing. We don't want singing, but well, you've got it. It was all right, I wouldn't say it was terrible. Yeah.
And Michael?
I love it. It grew on me through my first walkthrough of Enterprise, but I don't like the second edition that they've done, or I think it was seasons 3 and 4. I hated that one. I much prefer the original version to it.
Yeah, it was a little bit more upbeat, wasn't it? I think a little bit more to it. So what about you then, Matt? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a brave choice, sort of taking it in a different direction. I mean, obviously with Enterprise, to start with, they ditched the Star Trek, didn't they? It was Enterprise. So I think they were trying to sort of stand alone, going with a sort of a vocal theme tune was a brave choice, and I didn't mind it. And so I think I only really watched the first. Was there 4 seasons?
Yeah, only.
I don't think I ever watched. I think I might have watched the first 1 or 2. I didn't watch all of the series. It just didn't resonate with me. But
that's fair enough. I mean,
that was all right.
I didn't mind it. No, I quite liked it. I find myself singing it. I can sing along to it. And I agree with Ian in what he's saying about the history of sort of space travel shown throughout it, from ocean-bearing travel with the Enterprise, with the old sort of galleon type of a ship, all the way up into space travel and that, and exploration. I thought it was great. So Danny's saying he's struggling to watch season 3 of Discovery. There's a lot they could have done in that. So season 3 of Discovery, as a reminder to everyone, that's the one where they first jump into the future, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
The red. Is that one with? No, or was
yeah,
that the second?
No,
It's
the
one
second
with
one was dealing with control and the Red Angel. This one, season 3 was just trying to just regroup with the Federation, what was left of it, and also find out what the cause of the burn was.
Oh yeah, and it was a who was it who said it? I think it's in one of my messages. It was an upset. Whatever the what's the race of thingy's characters?
Orion.
Is that their name? What's his face? Saru.
Oh, Kelpian.
Kelpian. Yeah. So it was an upset Kelpian that caused it all.
Yeah.
Kelpian
yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I loved that season. Of course, I hated that it was, a Kelpian that done it. But at the same time, as just seeing the 32nd century for the first time, and it felt, when I first watched it, it felt like early Enterprise seasons. We have to rediscover all of these new things and regroup see what's left of the Federation and try and build that back up. But when I rewatched it last year, knowing it in advance, I think this is one of the biggest downfalls with Discovery, is it takes away the enjoyment of already knowing what's happening with the whole season arc. And I just didn't enjoy it the second time around than I did with the first one.
Fair enough. So, anyone else have any thoughts on that season 3?
I mean, from my point of view, I don't think Discovery is Star Trek, personally. I think if Gene Roddenberry was still alive today, he wouldn't want this series. I don't really think. But for me, it's Star Trek. To me, they're just... Yeah. I don't know. They're going off in a different direction, and you could call it anything, but I don't think it's Star Trek.
No.
Yeah, that's just my thoughts.
Ian, what about you? You've seen it, haven't you?
I think I have seen 3. It's 4 I haven't seen. I think the problem with Discovery, again, this actually is quite obvious to me, is it fun? Does it feel as if it's fun?
To me, it does. But then again, that's probably just a younger mindset watching it. Like, I'll watch it and switch my brain off, so I won't really look out for like the inconsistencies and all that. Or I'm not too bothered with the characters or anything, except for Burnham. She did eventually grow on me with seasons 3 and 4, but I hated her in seasons 1 and 2, as well as actually a lot of the characters, except for Tilly and Paul Stamets and Hugh Culber. Those were really the only characters that I liked up until season 3 and 4. But I still enjoy it.
Saru's interesting.
Saru is Saru. I absolutely adored Doug Jones as an actor, and even though we didn't see anything on Star Trek Day for Series 5, except for one little still, I am looking forward to season 5 whenever we get it.
Let me share with you my thoughts on this series. It's well documented anyway. Now, they should never have done a prequel series, number one.
Yes, I do agree.
Because they box yourself into a corner straight away.
Yeah.
By the end of season 2 was great because of Pike, but what they knew going into season 2 is that they'd made a mistake with season 1. And they should have done a show set further in the future, which leaves them open. Now, they didn't want to cancel Star Trek Discovery because they couldn't, because they wouldn't want to admit a failure. So what they've done was they reworked it to be a series in the future, right? So that's why they flung them in the future. And then they do this storyline that it's all top secret, all hush-hush. Shit can never be spoke about. Spock's sister can never be spoke about, and all this crap. And then they flung it into the future. But the other problem with the show is that it is structured like they've structured the cast like what it is in all the other Star Treks, where you have a primary cast of about 7 people, you know, a doctor, an engineer, blah, 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 all these different bridge crew and that sort of a thing. But the writing on it, and the same goes for Picard, and the setup for that doesn't allow you to give all them characters the time that they need to develop, because you're focused on this one sole story that goes all the way through. And even by season 4, you've got characters, you've got bridge crew there. I've got this bridge crew, I don't even know the character's name because they had nothing to do, and they're listed as a primary cast member. They structured it, they should have got, you know, and then with, like I said, Picard was exactly the same in its structuring and its writing, and characters felt shoehorned in, especially in this latest season of Picard, where, you know, you've had characters playing different parts because they've got to give them something to do. And, you know, and the only one that's got it right, has looked at it and said, oh, we've made a mistake, let's fix it, with Star Trek Strange New Worlds. That's the only one that's working for that reason. It's just not
episodic. Gone back to the episodic format, which is Star Trek. You know, it's always been episodic. I don't know why they've gone to this other format.
But there we go. I don't know. That's my thoughts on it anyway. Okay, so Oliver Ian 07 says Big Steve is missing a Trek chat. Now, Big Steve is whose live I was on last Thursday night.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a big Trekkie. Who's your favourite captain and why? Well, we have covered this one, Danny, but we'll do a quick round the room. Cisco. There we go. Because I love it. Sorry.
Kirk.
Is that how we done? We all said I didn't cave and catch. Michael, what did you say?
I said Cisco.
Oh yeah, that's right. Ian.
Picard.
Matt.
Kirk.
There we go. But Danny, we've already covered the question. Gary Hedger says Tasha Yar. I'm guessing that's she's been left out of the chat, so I totally forgot about her. Video taste is. Do you know any Klingon words? Kapla.
Yeah. I actually have somewhere the Klingon dictionary that they released. I still actually have that. The thing is in the blue unit in the kitchen. But I'm drawing a blank.
You know any other than Kapla? No? Ian,
that's better.
You could probably say anything.
Just say.
You can say anything and get away with it because I don't know the Klingon language. So
Yeah.
The information, AJ, it's little Steve. This is my personal account. Oh, little Steve, who was on the chat as well.
Okay, yeah.
I hope you're well, mate. That chat was fantastic the other night. Hope you enjoy Midnight Run. It's a great film. So I had to give them a film to watch, and for them to go away and do homework on and watch, and they'll review it. And I said Midnight Run, the 1988, I think it was, Robert De Niro film, buddy sort of type style film where he's a bounty hunter. Very good film. Goose says the Enterprise theme song is one that you hear and think, goodness no, what have they done? But by the time you get to the second season, you're belting it out at the top of your lungs.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, belting it out. I've been known to. Appreciate you answering my questions. Have a great rest of your chat. I've got to head out.
See ya.
Says Derek. Do you think Discovery is milking Star Trek, but as you don't get to know the characters as much?
I think we've kind of covered that, haven't we?
Yeah, I think you've been in here when you've been here, Danny, as we've mentioned that, haven't you? We've it's not great. But Michael likes it. But he's from a younger generation. Stephen Luther, what up? I'm late. What up, blood? How you doing, Stephen? You all right? And here we go. Look, this is I've got through all the questions because I ain't got as many viewers today. I wonder if it's because it's Saturday mid-afternoon.
Maybe.
Sunday.
I mean, could be.
Trekkers put them off. All the Trek.
Might get a lot on rewatches though.
Maybe.
Probably will be a few rewatches, yeah.
Because you know, your Star Trek shows have got very good views, haven't they?
Well, they did, yeah. So did Thingy at one point, Resident Alien, but then it's dropped off because no one's watching it anymore. Not the show, no one's watching the show anymore. But no, Star Trek does well. And Danny says he has a Klingon teaching dictionary on tape.
Okay.
Can anyone speak another language? Or are we all
no. You see, in schools here in Ireland, in primary school,
doesn't count.
Irish was a mandatory lesson to be taught in primary school, and I, for the vast majority of it, until I got an exemption form in secondary school, would just open my book, stare blankly, hope not to be called on.
Okay.
So it's Gaelic. Can you speak any Gaelic?
Unwill to agmatan on lettuce. Barely.
I mean, I can barely speak English, but there you go. So, Ian, you can't speak no foreign language or anything?
No, nope.
No.
Apart from maybe a few little bits of French, but that's about it.
I'll tell you how ignorant I am with language, yeah? My first wife, she'll kill me. She's one American. My first wife was Italian. She was born over here, but she had Italian parents, and she spent a lot of time in Italy and that. So she can speak Italian fluently, and my kids can, they understand Italian fluently, but they don't tend to speak it. So I was with her for about 10 years, and I can't even count up to 10 in Italian. But I did learn, I don't know if this counts, I did learn a form of sign language for my second son. Not that he's deaf or anything like that. He had a thing called speech dyspraxia, so he couldn't speak until later on in life. He was about 5 or 6. He couldn't speak at all, and part of his therapy was speaking through sign, which is used in conjunction with language.
Yeah.
So, like you'd have things like juice. I'll tell you who does it. You probably have seen it. You know, on children, there's a thing called Mr. Tumble on children's TV.
Yeah.
He uses it a lot.
Yeah.
I learned that to help communicate things with him, and it was great. Oh, wait a minute! Look, Goose has left another message. Now that we've had the complete original series 6-film 4K box set, are you guys looking forward to the complete next generation film set, which I'm hoping is coming next?
Well, I'm sure it will do. Yeah. I'm just hoping that Paramount, give us something good, because I've done a video recently about their so-called collector's editions, and from my point of view, they don't seem to be putting much effort into them. It seems very, let's get it out quick, put a few stickers in there, and whack a big price ticket on it. When you compare it to like Warner Brothers or Second Sight or Arrow, they're really dropping the ball, I think, Paramount. So
yeah, it's I agree. So what rumors are is that what Paramount are going to do is they're going to release a box set of Star Trek Generations, First Contact, and Insurrection, leave out Nemesis, and then a year later release another box including Nemesis. I'm only joking, Ian. That's just me.
Thank God.
Yeah. Wouldn't put it past them, though. Wouldn't put it past them.
But that's how to release Star Trek 1 to 4, right? Release Star Trek 1 to 4 on 4K in a box set. Then pretty much the very next day say, yeah, we're doing a director's edition of Star Trek the motion picture that will be out just after releasing it already on 4K in this box set without the last two films. And then there's all the chat that they'll throw the last two films with the other 4 films or some nonsense like that. And then a year later, you know, these things are planned. You know what I mean? They're just doing it to rip off people.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Question for you, AJ. I think you popped out of the room. Ian asked, are they bringing out Strange New Worlds? Are they releasing it physically, the first season?
I think so. I think
they did announce it. It is available to pre-order on the Star Trek Online website, but that might be a US version, a US import. But I have heard that I think it appeared on Amazon for a bit for the PAL version. I'm not 100% sure on that.
What appeared on Amazon wasn't a genuine release. I did see one on Amazon. It wasn't original, and that does happen. I've seen pirate copies of stuff go on there as Prime. I think I showed you one, Matt, didn't I? I sent you an image of it. But this is on Prime Video on Prime, and it's not. It's a bootleg copy. How that happens, I don't know. But yes, I would say yes, Ian, because Picard season 2 has a release coming. They've just released series 2 of Lower Decks. I think Thingy's in the pipe work, obviously Discovery. So they will get round to it. The thing is that the Paramount Plus isn't big enough for them to withdraw Star Trek from consumer purchasing, because Star Trek's such a big property for them. I'm sure they're still making a lot of money through physical.
I mean, it's still on Netflix. The majority of Star Trek, the TV shows anyway, are still on Netflix, which is surprising since Paramount Plus has been out for a while.
That's right.
Well, I had a free trial of Paramount Plus for 30 days. And I mean, I didn't think much to it, to be honest. There was no 4K on there. Navigating round, it was all right, but they need to do a lot of work on it to bring it up to where Disney is if they want subscribers.
I mean, on Star Trek Day, there was a promotional code, I think it was for US only, where if you used it, you got like a free month of Paramount Plus. So I downloaded the app just to say, if I'm getting a free month, I'll see what's on the website. And I downloaded the app. The app was all right, but what was on there wasn't enough to keep me around. So I instantly canceled that subscription.
Well, I had it for a month. I watched the new Scream film that was on there. There's a few TV shows. The new Halo show, is it on the game? I didn't watch it, but that was on there. Obviously, Strange New Worlds, that was on there.
Yeah, I'm not that massive of a Halo fan, but from what I've heard, the Halo series is shit, and it somehow got greenlit for a second season.
I started filming that. Yes. So anyway, Stephen says, your first wife, what number are you on? Number 2. Number 2, and that's where it stay. Unfortunately, I was. It's not unfortunate. I was quite young when I met my first wife. My son was born. I was 21. My first son. And I stepped into being a father extremely well. I think I've done. I was very proud of what I'd accomplished with my 3 children. They're great individuals, well-rounded. It's a second. Unfortunately, things don't work out in life sometimes, and that's just what happened there. I learned a lot from it. A lot of mistakes were made on from both sides, and I came away a better person. It was difficult, but I came away a better person. End of the day. So Video Tasties has left another message, and I will say to anyone still watching, if you didn't hear, You've seen the thing at the bottom of the page. Video Tasters does have the director of Star Trek 2, the Wrath of Khan, and Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country, on his channel today in 55 minutes at 4:30. I'll be finishing at 4 on the dot anyway. He's interviewing Nicholas Meyer at 4:30, so be sure to go over to Video Tasters. The little image that's on the screen now is his channel image. Go over there, check that out, subscribe to him. All 7 of you, 6 of you watching, because one of you is probably him. There you go. Okay, so he says, in the VHS days, they released a box set of all films every time a new film came out.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Screen versions too.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember those days.
Yeah.
Michael wouldn't.
Nope. Well, no, I still know VHS. For the first few years when I actually moved into this place, I still used VHS. I mean, that's how I watched the second season of Podge and Rod, Just Scare at Bedtime, and so I do remember VHS, just not as much as you do.
VHS, but you wouldn't remember like the releases of these.
No.
Ian, do you remember this? Were you buying the VHSs of these films or that when they were about?
Oh yeah, I was. But you know something? I got fed up of VHS well before DVD. I remember buying box sets of Buffy and Angel and what have you, and I'd sit there in a tense state watching these shows because the quality of the videotape was so bad. You was always getting ready to take it back to the shop, and it was awful. And then DVD came along, and it was like, wow, that's it. I've got no more VHF tapes ever again. No more sat there actually worried about everything.
Fast forwarding.
It was like it was wonderful seeing DVD. As soon as I saw it in about 1999, that was it. I won't buy any more VHS. It was all gone.
I'll tell you an interesting story.
Yeah.
One. Because you say about the quality of VHS. Now, obviously, 1980, 1997, 1998, 1999, you're going into you're heading into that Blu-ray era, right? Especially 99, obviously. But when they released my favorite Batman film on VHS, Batman and Robin, I changed it over 3 or 4 times because the amount of dropout lines that were on this release. Every time I bought one, because in the later days of VHS, they started to the tapes were thinner. The tape they used became thinner and thinner, and you would get more and more dropout lines. But towards the end of VHS era, I started going to Blockbuster and wanting to buy the X rentals because thicker tape, because they're designed to be watched that much more than when you buy them from like your Woolworths or your WH Smiths when they hit, or Our Price and those sort of things. So yeah, so Batman and Robin, my favorite Batman movie, I can defend. No, I
thought it was the Batman.
So yeah, the tape quality just became, and then when your tape got chewed up. The thing is, I say this, Video Tasters is watching. He's very much VHS. He is VHS.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, it's great watching. It's very nostalgic. His channel. It's great because you see things that you've forgotten about.
I've got so many.
I really love it. I think it's great.
Does his tape still get chewed up? Does he make sure he rewinds before he ejects, not to create a dropout line? And how does he feel about the fact that I used to go into Blockbuster Video, hire a rental, pirate it on my 2 connected VHS tapes, unscrew the cassette, take out the original, put it into my own. Take out the pirate, put it into the Blockbuster Video set, and then screw it back up and give it back to him. That's why I had the original. I did another thing. That's what I used to do back in the day. And I used to supply pirates to my teachers at school, and they gave me fantastic predicted grades that I never achieved.
Oh, dear.
Do any of you remember your first DVD player? Because I was so excited. And what they used to do is to promote DVDs, is that you'd get the DVDs with them. And I remember the very first DVD that I got, it had free with it. It had Shakespeare in Love, Babe 2, and Apollo 13. And I was in heaven just watching these films that were free with the DVD player. And then I think the next one I got was a region free, so I could play Region 1 DVDs. And you got about 10 DVDs with it. You know, I bet I have actually got some that I've still, and the quality of the DVD, you look at it now and you think, oh God, that's really bad. But at the time, it's absolutely fantastic. They'd cram about 4 films. You know, you'd have like a Van Damme films and all just shoved together, these low budget films. And they were virtually giving them away. And there were and I remember it was a region free one already. I'd already learned that America was way behind. And one of my best possessions, I went in a local shop, and he just got DVDs in, and he had Star Trek. Right, I'll show you. Just look.
I saw some Ian's Doctor Who figures on the wall there, people.
Yeah.
Look, these were the first Star Trek DVDs I ever got, and they were American. And they were all they followed basically the VHS tape idea, where you'd have 2 episodes on a tape, and DVD was no extras or anything on that. And this is just fantastic. These were the first episodes. Just put my glasses on while I'm reading this. But this has got Tomorrow is Yesterday, The Return of the Archons. I've got Who Mourns Daenerys, and A Mock Time, so that's from second season. Then on this one, look who's on the front. Yeah,
Ricardo Montalban.
And this is A Taste of Armageddon, and of course Space Seed. Hey, this was exciting. I remember these were there. They were the first sort of DVDs I saw, but they were Region 1. And then finally, now this is, I love this. It's a real favourite. Look, Joan Collins on the front. That can only mean one thing.
Yeah.
The City on the Edge of Forever. Wow. I just remembered originally, as soon as I saw that, I've got to have that straight away. It was so exciting seeing City on the Edge of Forever. And actually, the other one is quite good because it's the Errand of Mercy with it as well. And that's first time that you actually see the Klingons. It's a great. So that's my just bit of excitement. I remember this was so exciting seeing these. I've kept them. I never got rid of them. It just reminded me.
Yeah, they remind me of how I actually had the original series, because I had the complete original series, and it's on what I refer to as the DVD files. Back when they used to release them with the magazines, and you have 3 episodes on it. That's how I have my TOS collection, is through that. I found that in a charity shop for like 20 quid.
What, the complete set?
Yeah, complete set. All 79 episodes, minus the cage, but it includes Unification Part 1 and 2, as well as Relic, Trials and Tribulations, and Flashback.
Yeah, you showed it in a video.
Yeah.
They included all them ones. That was great. So, Matt, do you remember getting your first DVD player?
Yeah, well, that was a PlayStation 2. because
Okay.
pretty much I sort of came to the decision, you know, I want a games console. I'd had the PlayStation 1, which only played CDs and the games. So I was into gaming, not a huge gamer, but I did play the Tomb Raider games. So yeah, I thought, well, you know, getting into the DVDs, why not, you know, sort of combine the two? So yeah, it was a PlayStation 2, and I also had like a little dongle thing that would make it region free. So I got
Actually,
a couple of.
I have
Yeah,
something to show you. I actually have Tomb Raider on PS1 right here, the Platinum Hits.
Oh yeah, I've still got that. Yeah,
Found
yeah,
it in a charity shop
yeah,
3 months ago. So I just had it on hand, so I thought I'd show you.
yeah. I've still got my PlayStation 1. I got rid of the PS2, but yeah, no, that was my first DVD player. Well, you know, I've got another one over there, but yeah, that was the first one.
Wow.
What about you?
Michael, what was yours? Do you remember your first one?
I
Did you
think
start with PlayStation?
I think it was we had one before it, but I definitely remember having like watching a lot of movies on the PlayStation 2 that I had gotten for my birthday, and yeah, that's all that I can really remember from being 5. Just having a PlayStation 2, playing Crash Bandicoot, and watching what a few movies that we had at the time.
Cool. Let me just put this message up and then I'll tell you my story. Okay, thanks again. Video Tasties here. I will be taking questions in the chat for Mr. Mayer. For anyone who's interested.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So my first DVD player was multi-region. Well, I made sure I went multi-region. And I went up to Tottenham Court Road and bought it up there because there was a lot of hardware stores that sold that sort of stuff. It cost me 500 quid.
Wow.
Right? 500 quid. I've still got it. It still works.
Surprisingly.
And I remember coming home with it. I walked with it to Holborn station where I could get a bus to come home. And there was a trampy guy who asked me for some money. I shouldn't say trampy guy. It was a homeless fella. He asked me for some money. I was in quite a good mood because I got my new DVD player. And I gave him 5 quid in 1999. I still remember.
Yeah, that was a lot of money back then.
I didn't have no change on me, so I gave him a £5. Gutted that was. And my first ever DVD was Species 2. I remember that.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to think what my first DVD was. Can't remember. What about you, Ian? What's your first DVD?
Well, I remember going into Smith's and they had these offers on, and there were 3 for £40. And I know exactly what I got. I got Dune because I love Dune. It was the first film I'd actually gone on with my late wife on a date. Dune, so it had a lot of meaning to it. Then they had a best of Monty Python, which I picked up, and God, that was so exciting as well. And then I think the other one, just trying to remember what the other one was. It must have been sort of very current film. It could have been Face Off or something like that. There was no horror films or anything, but that's what I remember. It was something, quite popular action film. I can't remember, so I know I haven't got that, but I know the other 2 I've still got. But that's it, really. The Smiths, I mean, they were 40 quid for 3, which seemed a great offer. But I mean, now you look at it and you think, God, they were expensive, weren't they?
Yeah.
When they first came out.
And
then they shut down. They suddenly realised. I think, Raiders of the Lost Ark was perhaps one I got early on, and that was quite cheap. They deliberately brought the price down. That's, I think, as I remember it. Yeah.
You remember yours?
Something like that, yeah.
I think PlayStation 2 definitely helped.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like the
DVD.
PlayStation 2 was one of the cheapest DVD player options at the time. I think back in 2000, it was like 200-300 for PlayStation 2,
Yeah.
compared to, as AJ said, 500 for one. So it was definitely a no-brainer for a lot of people, which is why I think it helped PlayStation 2 be the most sold console of all time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They also did it with the PlayStation 3. Sony lost money.
Yeah,
on
they did,
PS3.
because
They wanted to
the
get
PlayStation
Blu-ray.
3 was
Yeah.
did support Blu-rays. Even the games were on Blu-ray discs. So for the longest time, they did lose money, and they also released a year after the Xbox 360 had already released. So for a lot of time with that console generation war, Xbox dominated it. But hang on, I have an interrupted guest. My cat has decided he wants attention. So I've completely lost what I was saying, because this fucker just decides he wants attention. So this is Levi. I've had this son of a bitch for 7 years, and he is an adorable little shit. And his weakness is under his chin, so that's how I'm getting him to be immobilized. But yeah, no. Eventually, PlayStation has won and is still currently winning with the PS4 and with the PS5.
Do you remember what your first VHS film was? I know mine straight away. It was Clint Eastwood, Dirty Harry. I watched.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we all piled round, really excited. I remember seeing that as our first film on VHS. Oh, yeah, that was really exciting. Dirty Harry, yeah.
My earliest memories of VHS was it's either going to be like Transformers, the cartoon, some of the cartoon series, either the pilot episode or one called Desertion of the Dinobots, which was either that or it was Dempsey and Makepeace, the pilot.
I actually do remember my first VHS, surprisingly enough. It was when I was 3 for Christmas. I had just recently gone into Power Rangers. So my first VHS was the first 3 episodes of Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue on VHS.
I can't remember my first VHS, but I can remember what started me collecting. And I was telling AJ this recently. Like you said, Ian, W.H. Smith used to sell, DVDs and VHS. And I can remember going in and there was an Abyss box set. It was a limited edition box set. And I remember going in and looking and seeing it on the shelf and thinking, oh, wow, I've never seen a limited edition before. And thinking, oh, quite interested in this. And at the time, I was only like doing part-time work, so I didn't have a lot of money. And I kind of thought, I'm going to have a think. I did that, walked out the shop, and then about 10, 15 minutes later, I thought, I'm going to go and buy it. I went back, it was only one copy, and it had gone. I was gutted.
I hate when that happens.
And that kind of spurred me on. After that, was like, right, if I ever see an edition I want, I'm going to get it. And that's 25, 30 years ago, or whatever it was. But yeah.
6 minutes left before I call it quits.
I know what do you remember I was talking about the third one? I couldn't remember what it was. It was the 5 Doctors.
Ooh, nice.
That was the one. Yeah, the 5 Doctors I got in that first lot. Yeah, I knew there'd be a Doctor Who somewhere.
I want to try and get through the rest of the comments quickly because, like I said, there's only 5 minutes left, and I want to be aware of the time. Because I'd like to have half-hour break before jumping onto Video Tasties, Nicholas Mayer. So Danny said, I had an entire Star Trek VHS collection, which took my entire wall up, and I eventually upgraded them, but had to replaster my wall with all the videos being on it. I had thousands. Why did you have to replaster the wall? Were they not on shelves? What do you, yeah. What do you mean they were on the wall? Let us know. The video taste is that's probably to my VHS story. I was bad back then. I've not changed. Danny says, I had a Star Trek club in school, but it was just me and my mate, and no one was interested in it. I'm not surprised. As in, you know, I don't know, kids just don't want to, you know, I was always like considered nerdy at school, and no one ever liked what I liked. There you go. Did you know you can watch some 3D films on PS3? I didn't know that.
I did recently. It was through a popular YouTuber I like to watch called Scott the Waz, where he reviews all these. And he did covers. They even had came out with a PS3 3D TV about it.
Okay, cool. I had no idea. Danny says I got Star Trek Invasion on PS1.
I think that was the first Star Trek game I ever played before getting into Star Trek.
Fair enough. I've never played it. Never. I don't know. I didn't really play. I wasn't big on. I did have games consoles, but my kids were more into it than me when they came along, and more that generation. I mean, my oldest kid, Michael, is only about 3 years younger than you. Blue Harvest, hello there. How are you keeping? Hope you're well. I've not caught any of your videos lately. I don't know what's going on there. Raids of the Lost Ark, so that would have been Blue Harvest's first. What's that noise?
My cat purring.
Oh, no.
He's a loud purr.
Oh, that makes sense. Danny said he took the shelves down and huge cracks appeared. So that makes sense.
The only pussy I've gotten in the past 2 years, so.
All right, so that's the last message there. So I'm going to leave that now. For messages. So,
in his fucking hairs.
there we go. We've done 2 hours. I've got. Oh look.
You got lens flare. Lens flare.
JJ Abrams is filming mine. Oh, wait a minute. I've got another message. Thomas Hill has just jumped in. Yeah, Thomas, we're just wrapping up, actually. We've done 2 hours with my Star Trek lens. Look at that.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's perfect.
That is why I always call the curtain over, so stuff like this doesn't happen.
It doesn't matter, mate. It's Star Trek. If we're talking Star Trek, I've got some lens flare. That's fantastic. Look at that. I'm going to keep that there. So yeah, Thomas Hill. Yeah. So thank you for popping in, Thomas. But yeah, I hope you managed to catch up. Take a look later. We are finishing up. Danny says, fantastic live, gents. We'll get Danny on at some point.
Yep.
So sad, but the friendship will never end, says Thomas. Start that. So let's get rid of that lens flare. I can't see myself. So anyway, yeah, so thank you for watching, everyone. Now, obviously, Ian Hill has got his own channel. Ian, what's the name of your channel for everyone?
It's Ian Hill, The Ramblings.
Great, fantastic. Michael?
My channel is just called Michael's Movie Corner.
And Matt. Everyone knows Matt. We're together anyway every time we do it.
Matt B's movies, not verses. Everyone calls it verses.
I've done that in a video recently. Matt B's movies, not verses.
Yeah.
Thank you, Goose. Thank you very much. So yeah, we're jumping out. We're going to jump. I'm sure Matt and myself will be on Video Tasties. Michael,
yeah,
if you want.
Really interesting.
I'll definitely look into it once I charge up my phone a bit more.
All right. I'm sure if it was the Jonathan Frakes directed.
Yeah, Jonathan Frakes did direct it. Yeah.
Yeah. First Contact. I'm sure
he's a good director.
Fantastic director.
He ain't bad at all. Ian, Danny says he'll sub to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's great. That's what we like. So I'm going to end the broadcast now. So thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for keeping it nice. That's always appreciated. And me and Matt, I'm sure we'll probably be back next week, Matt, with people at some point.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Check
The diary, but I'm sure. Yeah, if there's nothing going on next weekend,
we'll
return.
That'll be over on Matt's channel. So again, thank you and goodbye. If you want to stay on, we can have a little chinwag in the, offline, so to speak, where we're still on here, but it's not being broadcast.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, everyone, and take care of yourselves. Goodbye.
Bye. Live long and prosper.
Thank you. Peace and long life.